Welcome back, everybody. 3 p.m. That was Greasy Rich. I survived. Shout out to him for letting me use this song on my intro. So, YouTube, I have permission. I hope they don't get me for that. Anyways, yeah, that's Greasy Rich. Go check him out. He's a musician slash Bubbles impersonator. I met him through my TPB fan page, Trailer Park Boys fan page on Facebook. It's called TPB. We've done a couple lives together, and he's gotten me off the couch and motivated me even to do this video. And part of it's because of that song right there. The fact that I could share his music, he deserves more attention. So go check him out. But anyways, it was calling me. This podcast was calling me. I just recorded like an hour video. Thought I did. And my computer must have corrupted it. Maybe it's too long. I got to get new stuff. I got to stop slacking. I got to stop, procrastinating. I got to stop making excuses. I got to, and that's what stops me from doing this, because the quality, I want quality. I want to help people. So unless feel like I have enough stuff to babble on about or talk about, I don't really want to do it, but he's kind of, Greasy's giving me some motivation, and I had a hard day today, to be honest. I mean, some cool things have been going on, but I had a hard day today because, I started freaking out, just not feeling right around 3 p.m. And another reason I don't want to talk about it is because it's like I don't want to make it into a thing and placebo myself or others into overthinking 3 p.m. But, it was kind of like a joke, 3 p.m., 3 a.m. is the witching hour. So 3 p.m., but it was also serious because I do get affected during the day around that time. And sometimes it's hard to get through the last little bit of the day. And even no matter what I'm listening to, sometimes my, the panic oversets it. And there's things that I could do that fix that and help that for me, I guess. And I'm not suggesting this for other people. I'm just explaining what works for me, and what worked for me today was, one, realizing, okay, you're just, because I make it through every day fine, and I through like the whole day I'm fine, but it's like in the evening, and I've been making it into a bigger thing. But lately I haven't had a problem, but today, because I've been like just happy and positive, trying to think positive and, trick myself, whatever. And today it just hit me, and it was around the time, and that's when all your, and I had an 8, and lots of things could affect it. So it's like, I'm not a doctor here, but I noticed I was like panicking, freaking out a little bit. I had to tell myself, stop freaking out. But what helped me was just, instead of like thinking about what's going to happen in the future, 15 minutes from now, an hour, 2 days, a week, a year, overthinking everything, to think about the past, but not in like a negative way. Because often when your brain is cloudy and it's like everything looks stormy, the past, you could focus on only negative in the past. And I think people should learn from the negative, but don't live there. Don't let it consume you. Grow from it and focus on the positives of the past, because that's what helped me today, is thinking about some good times from my past, some time things that I've forgotten about over time, just life. And every now and then it's nice to like think about, a good time from your life, or like a chaotic time that was chaotic at the time, but then later on thinking about it, like, holy crap, like that was a good time. I don't know. I have times from like old jobs where it was terrible, but looking back, I'm like, man, I miss, standing around goofing off with people, because I work by myself now. But I get to run into some people from all different walks of life, and they might not be famous, but they got some stories, you know? There was this guy, Paul. I wish I would have got to interview him. You know, if I only had the balls to interview him and ask him for an interview because I talked to him every Thursday, first thing in the morning. He used to come out. At first, he was making sure I did my job, but after a while, we became friends, and he was this old G, you know, top G. Anyways, he invited me out one day, and you know, it was like where they had a comedy club, and he walked out with like 5 ladies around his waist. I mean, in his military hat and everything. He was a G. His wife had passed away like years and years before, and but you could, you know, he was just a good guy. You could tell he loved his wife, and you know, was scared. He used to say stuff like, you know, I have dreams of falling out in my yard and ants getting me, and I know that's gruesome, but it's like he would tell me these things, and I'm like, don't say that. Don't say it. You know, don't say it. And towards the end, was on some medication and wasn't acting right, and yeah, it happened fast, and he was going in for some type of surgery and didn't make it. And he knew there was a chance, but he was also tough, so he didn't really prepare. It was a whole long story. I'm not going to get into that, but I never asked him. You know, I did kind of ask him about crazy stories. He's like, I don't have any. And then just randomly talking one day, he was bringing up Vietnam, and he was talking about how somebody in his platoon or whatever they call it, you know, part of his crew, his teammate died, got shot somehow, and they had to carry him 2 days through the jungle. And I'm like, hold up, like you said you had no stories. It was also a time where they had like a Viet Cong, whatever they call them, like informant in their midst, and they didn't know who it was for a while because they worked with like civilians too during Vietnam, I guess. Just he had some stories, but I never got to talk to him. I never got to, you know, because I didn't want to do it wrong. And you know, that's a lot to ask for people. It's gonna be on the internet for forever. So I have some few other people that I do want to interview because you know if they want to tell their story, if you know if people want to get it out there, I'm not some kind of big shot, but you know it could be a start. I had one guy tell me, "You never know where that will take you," and it's true. You know, perhaps it'll take me to where exactly where I want to be in life. Because you know, I kind of you kind of know when you're in the right heading in the right direction. At least for me, like I know when it's like that whole cliche of do good things and good things will happen to you. It's like I know when I'm doing what I'm supposed to. The universe tells me one way or another, whether that sounds crazy to some people or not, it does. And then things happen like running into Greasy Rich and you know I started off by just sharing his stuff, you know, and he doesn't. Regardless, he was gonna make it, but you know he was gonna get out there because he has talent with his impersonations and he's good with his music and he has his niche. But you know, I shared his stuff off from my page when it was smaller, and but it led to him getting bigger and being well known. And now, you know, we could do lives and kind of help each other, and that's great. You know, and all from years and years of me building up a page that you know seemed like a waste of time probably to a lot of people in it, including myself. You know, I've had some arguments over the page, putting in too much time on the page. You know, I still have to balance my life with this social media online presence, and at the same time I have to be careful about what I put out there, and I'm always thinking about how I'm presenting myself. You know, I don't want to present myself as one thing or another. I'm not. It's like I'm not an intellectual like Lex Friedman by any means. You know, he's a word wizard. like I said in my short, but you know, I'm not a comedian per se like Theo Vaughn. I'm kind of a mix. You know, I like I'm a Gemini also, so I don't know if that means anything, but you know, I'm sure it's influenced my life in one way or another. But yeah, I gotta watch how much of myself I put on here and how I'm making myself look because I don't I don't want to be known as, you know, well, first I don't want to be known for uh supporting somebody else, whether it's like a talking head. A lot of people have talking heads, you know, they which is could be all right, you know, like people we're at a point where people don't trust the government and trust leaders and politicians, so they're looking towards these people like Joe Rogan, Lex Friedman, Mark Zuckerberg, Patrick David, you know, David, like any famous person, you know, they're looking towards these people, not to call out all those people, nothing against those people. They're looking towards these people, these comedians, whatever. And people like Dana White that are motivated, stand up for something, you know, that's what pretty much what America used to mean, I guess. You know, that's the whole romance of it all, I think. And people, you know, have on the other side and other sides or whatever, they have their talking heads, and that's okay because it's it's good to have people to look up to, but you also got to have your own thoughts because if your talking head changes opinions or changes his ways, people go crazy. Um, yeah, I try to not put too much faith in any man. You know, I look up to certain people. I think it's amazing what certain people have accomplished, and I have to give people credit for their, you know, intellectual capabilities or memory or you know physical abilities. You know, their stamina, their discipline. I, I was never taught any of this stuff. I wish I was. I didn't come from a family that was wealthy or and taught me any kind of class. I would say didn't really learn that. I learned respect. I learned like to not talk with your mouth full and you know chew with your mouth closed and to not talk back and stuff like that. Didn't always you know follow those rules, but I learned that you know, but not like which fork goes and which spoon goes in which position, you know, and at the fancy table, whatever. None of that. And on the other hand, you know, I, I guess I am who I am, and I'm not a thug, you know, but I was raised around thugs. I was raised around, you know, so-called gangsters, whatever, you know, dealers. While also being raised around hardworking, you know, regular blue collar Americans. Um, you know, conservative, I would say, religious a bit, you know, but regular, normal life with a little bit of poverty. You know, our houses were falling apart, and eventually we had to leave too because yeah, they just fell apart and nobody had any money. It's been a struggle. It's been a struggle, but you know, my grandma told me once that I can't, you can't use your past as an excuse. You know, you can't to a certain extent. It's why I am how I am, and sometimes I might, you know, feel bad about that or ashamed of it or like I don't deserve something. But every now and then, the universe tells me it's okay. It's okay to be who you are. It's okay to be, you know, you can't help it, and you're not going to be born with all these amazing capabilities all the time. Sometimes people are born with amazing capabilities and they don't even have to work for it. But other times you're gonna have to put your big boy boots on and go work for something in your life. And it's better to learn it sooner than later, I would think, because I'm learning it later to really. Even though my grandma told me that, there's an ambulance going by or something. But even though my grandma told me that, I didn't. There's lots of things she told me that I didn't necessarily listen to right away. Like she told me to sit down every now and then. Sometimes I still need to sit down and think about stuff, think about my life, and be grateful for my life. It kind of grounds you when you're grateful. It's a good way to ground yourself and get in touch with what you're grateful for and your life and where you're at in life. And I don't know. I guess I'm always thinking it could be a lot worse, and that's a good thing and a bad thing because it could be a hell of a lot better in all types of ways. Not financially, not just financially. I would say, of course, everybody could use more money, but what does money mean? What does fame mean if you're not happy? If you don't get along with the people you love, or people don't understand you, or they misconstrued what you say, or they think you're somebody that you're not, and you're perceived as something that you're not, or perhaps you've put on this fake persona to become famous, and then what? You have to live with it your whole life, pretending what a life that would be, right? I think it might have happened to some people, but I won't mention names. I just I don't want that. Um, I don't want to be forgotten about, I guess. That is a big thing for me. I think it comes from watching Gladiator, to be honest. What we do in this life echoes in eternity. And that's always stuck with me. Little quotes from movies stick with me and, inspire me. But it really does, and there's a quote like obscurity, like failure is, or no, success or something like that is fleeting, but failure is, oh no, obscurity is forever, something like that. Probably butchered it, but pretty much like, yeah, failure sucks, but if you don't even do nothing, that's forever. You're gone forever. You're not going to be remembered for nothing. And I think a lot of people that think they're going to be remembered for YouTube videos or whatever are not going to be remembered. Uh, and I'm not saying I'm going to be remembered. It's like, I think it's almost like, um, presumptuous, if that's the word, or like cocky of me to even, even try to say that. But it's also arrogant. And who am I to say that isn't, well, that's not in the cards? I'm not. It's not up to me, but it is up to me to try. And I think when I'm on the right path, things just seem like they fall together a lot better than when I'm not doing the things that I know I should be doing. Things are more chaotic and hectic. I can't say it's going to compare to your life. I don't know your life, but I hope these words could help your life, because I've recently listened to people like Les Brown, and he's really inspired me to not just talk about stuff, but actually do stuff. But yeah, he's inspired me to believe in the power of my words and myself. One day, perhaps perhaps I can be speaking in front of a crowd of people doing a lecture, but I'm not sure if that's exactly what I want to do. So that's the problem. I mean, I I love hearing this stuff, and I love thinking about this stuff and breaking life down, and so to the point where sometimes it annoys people around me, I think. And I always ask myself, why do I have that? if I'm not supposed to do something with that, then why do I have it? You know? Like, I am not meant to be a bad person. I'm not meant to be a bad person. I don't have that in me. I don't want to be an evil person. It's like, but if for some reason I just had to do bad stuff, I'd feel like I was meant to be bad, you know? That doesn't excuse people doing bad stuff, but some people maybe are just meant to be bad. I don't know. Uh, who's the judge, right? Not me. You know, I believe in what I believe in, and I don't necessarily believe I'm meant to be anything other than who I am, you know? And if that is meant to be something else greater or bigger than myself, that ends up inspiring millions or more, you know, to have a better life or whatever, then that would be great. But that's not up to me. You know, Joe Rogan talks about the muse a lot, you know, the muse and ideas and where do they come from. It's like, and sometimes, a lot of these times I'm babbling, you know, but every now and then I do get in a flow state, kind of like now. Probably going to mess it up, but where I could just talk. And it happens when you settle down and you're not worried about everything, you know, you're not worried about if somebody's going to walk in or how the video looks or whatever. And that's why I hate the direction that social media in general has gone towards the perfection of content. And I like the graininess. I like the one-on-one person. I like the actually, actually get to see somebody's flaws, cough in, one take, no editing, no fancy cinemas, whatever, you know, no pretending, just a person laying it out on the line for other people to hear and possibly inspire people to live a life that's truer to their self, whatever that may be, instead of living a life that they think other people might want them to live, or living a life that they have seen somebody else live and perceive it as happiness when truthfully they don't know. They don't know what those people are going through, the struggles. You never know. There's a lot of stuff that I don't talk about, that I don't want to bring to the video, to the podcast, whatever. For some reason, my voice, my throat is getting to me. But there's a lot of stuff that I don't want to bring to the podcast and show, you know, and I want to present certain views and certain perceptions or whatever it's called of myself to the world. And other times I don't care. I don't care. I don't care enough. And then I don't even want to watch what I said because I'm like, I didn't care enough. You know, I just said it. I just said it. I guess what I'm trying to say is I want to put more meaning behind what I say and more importantly, actions. But, you know, I've been listening to audiobooks. I should read them. Should read more books, but it's a start. It's like I've been changing small stuff, small things. And it's going to be, if I keep it up and I, you know, you know, say everything works out great, 5 years, I'm curious to see how much of a benefit doing changing small stuff for the better will be over time. You know, especially for my family. because if you have a family, it's not enough for you to do it yourself. You got to bring your whole family along, and sometimes that could be hard, especially when they're perhaps not perhaps not everybody's discomfortable, or if that's the right word, with their life. You might have to, or somebody might be, when you could see, it's like when you could see potential in people that they can't see in themselves. Sometimes you might have to budge them in the right direction, or not even the right direction. You might have to just try to motivate them and get them to see the person that they can be. Not a new person, not a different person, just a better, who they who they're meant to be. I'm not to say that. I'm not the one, who's to say that. But when you could, you know what I'm talking about. Sometimes you could see better in people, and every now and then that's risky because it's sometimes you see something that isn't there, or they don't see it themselves. Therefore, they're incapable of expressing that person that you fantasize, romance them to be, or whatever it may be. I'm sure it happens all the time. But there's some people that are just waiting for somebody to come along and believe in them. So yeah, believe in your significant others and your family, and think about what's best for all of you, not just for yourself. I gotta balance everything. I gotta balance these videos. I gotta balance my life with my family's life. I can't just do what I want to do. I gotta make sure it's really for the best interest of the family, and that it's not taking too much away from the family. you know but also you have to put in time and effort in anything that you want to grow, and to maybe become something one day that helps millions of people, not just one person. But for now, one person is enough, because I'm still changing the world one person at a time, and to me that's worth it. Now I'm not gonna do this video too long, because I guess my computer don't like long videos, and I don't feel like losing another hour of video. That really is no good. That's like all those thoughts, because there's no editing. All those thoughts just gone, and most of them I can't get back, because they're off the cuff. They're on the spot. There's a lot more things I talked about the first time, but I like this one better. Things are meant to be, you know. Sometimes it's just meant to be. Maybe I said a lot of personal stuff the first time. So, oh yeah, before I leave, I said what helped me today was to think about something positive from the past. So I just want people to think, to take to learn from the negative times, of course, but to forget about them. Once you learn all you can from them, forget about them, lay them to rest, you know, bury them, but don't forget the good times, and don't for people in relationships that plan on staying with who they're with, don't overlook the small things, especially if it's a new relationship. Don't take things for granted. Don't overlook the small things, but also um, put time and effort into yourself as well, so you could both grow, and you can grow better for that person. Don't put all your time and effort into pleasing them, or trying to make their life better. You gotta make your life better, so eventually you can make their life better. And that's what I'm trying to do. And, it's sometimes it feels like it's too late and it's a little too little too late, but at least I'm trying. And I'm not using that as an excuse anymore. And I'm tired. I'm tired of using lots of things as an excuse for not, I used to think I was a humble person, because really it was just being afraid, letting fear control my life and not expressing who I really am, and telling the universe what I want. I still don't know what I want, but I know what I don't want. And I've told the universe that, and I've told the universe some things that I want to be healthier and stuff. And I told myself it's not impossible, and I told myself to believe. And at this point, it's just time to do it. It's just time to get down to it and stop making excuses. Stop waiting on a new year. We just had one. Stay motivated. Stay disciplined. Stay positive. You got to add some comedy in your life, some stand up comedians like Joey Diaz. I mean, that's that's what I love about the world. You could be watching Lex Friedman one minute, a word wizard, and then the next minute you're laughing your ass off listening to Joey Diaz talk about his balls. All right, the world is beautiful. It's all about your perspective. It's all about how you look at life. I'm trying to look at it better, one day at a time, one day at a time. And I hope this helped somebody. If it helped you, drop a comment. Say it helped me, brother. This is not a church. It's not a church. But yeah, just say it. Say it helped, man. It'll help me, man. Help me help you, and or whatever, whoever you are. If it helps, hit that subscribe button, hit the like. I'm gonna be doing this. I'm gonna be doing this more often. I gotta get myself off the couch. You know, I gotta motivate myself to do these things and to get better equipment so I can interview people and all types of stuff, man. But if Will Survives could do it out there in the woods, I could do it, man. And you could do it too. So, anyways, until next time, take care of yourself. And as always, stay safe.